Welcome on board, chosen one. The seatbelt isn't for you, it's for everyone else, because they're the ones shaking right now. Funny how they talked all that noise, acted like they had you figured out, like you were some open book they could skim on a lazy afternoon. Then look at them today. Barely breathing, barely blinking, acting like the universe just exposed their entire script. They said you were predictable. They said you were harmless. They said you were done. Cute. Now they're staring at you like they just saw a ghost wearing your face, except this version of you isn't here to haunt them. It's here to replace every lie they ever told with cold truth. You know what really cracks me up? The same mouths that doubted you are quiet now. They don't dare speak your name. They whisper in code, avoid eye contact, and pray no one notices the fear dripping off them. The universe must be rolling its eyes watching them scramble because it knows the truth. If anyone deserves to panic, it's them. And yet they still act shocked, like they didn't create this moment with their own cheap assumptions. Press the like button and subscribe to pay this message back so we keep exposing what they prayed would stay hidden. Now, listen closely. Feel the air around you. That silence isn't peace. That's the sound of 100 minds glitching at once. They didn't expect you to survive what you survived. They didn't expect you to wake up sharper. They didn't expect you to come back with a mind so cold and clear that even the universe stepped aside to watch you move. They are terrified because the version of you they built in their heads has officially died. And the version standing here now. This one studies them, not the other way around. This one doesn't need approval. This one doesn't break. This one doesn't ask to be understood. Remember how they used to talk? Oh, the legend needs to bow. Look who thinks they're important when they said you'd never rise again. Every insult was a brick they threw at you, hoping you'd crumble. But all they really did was help you build the walls they're now trapped outside of. You walked through fire they swore would finish you, and instead came out with eyes that can see through everything. Even their intentions, even their rehearsed smiles, even their panic disguised as concern. Let's talk facts, because villains who turn into heroes don't need fairy tales. You weren't supposed to make it out of that heartbreak. You weren't supposed to handle that betrayal. You weren't supposed to rebuild after they mocked you for falling apart. But the universe watched you stay awake on nights that should have broken your sanity. It watched you swallow pain that would have crushed anyone else. It watched you crawl when walking wasn't an option. And somewhere in that darkness, something shifted, something hardened, something became sharp. That's why they're scared. They know the version of you they betrayed wouldn't have survived. But this version, this one, is unstoppable, because you learned how to rise without witnesses. You probably didn't notice it at first. The stares, the tension, the way people sit up straighter when you enter a room. But they noticed. They felt it before you did. They felt that change hit them like a cold wind that wasn't supposed to blow their way. You want a story. Here's one. Remember that moment when your whole world fell apart, when you sat in silence because emotions were too heavy for words. They kept their distance then, assuming you'd never recover. But the universe was working backstage, rearranging pieces, sharpening edges, turning your heartbreak into weapon-grade clarity. They laughed at your silence, not knowing silence is where monsters evolve. And let's get even more personal, since that's what they hate most. They thought your softness was weakness. They thought your kindness was naive. They thought you were someone they could play with, test, underestimate. People like them always mistake quiet strength for fragility. Meanwhile, you were learning the exact shape of their betrayal, their envy, their hidden intentions. You were paying attention. Too much attention, apparently, because now you know them better than they know themselves. And nothing terrifies an enemy more than the moment you see through them completely. The universe didn't just push you forward, it erased an entire layer of who you used to be. That's the jaw-dropping side of you they never expected, the part that moves without hesitation, the part that doesn't forgive easily, the part that doesn't explain itself. You're not returning to your old life, you're stepping into the life that was always meant for the version of you they never respected. The one who finally understands that being underestimated is the sharpest advantage you could ever wield. They're talking about you right now, not out loud. They're too shaken for that. They're talking with their silence. Conversations stop when you walk in. Their eyes flick toward you, then away. Their shoulders tense. They don't know what you know. They don't know who told you. They don't know how much damage their lies actually did to themselves, not to you. They just know one thing. There's a side of you they never accounted for, and now that it's here, they're not sure they're ready for the truth. And chosen one, yeah, I'm talking to you again. Since you've already cracked open that hidden side of yourself, the one that made their jaw hit the floor, the real question now is whether you're ready to explore it piece by piece. Because this isn't just a story, it's the moment you finally see why people react to you the way they do. If you want to keep this fire burning, drop a comment with 111 to show you're ready to step into the part of yourself they never planned for. This keeps you locked into the energy and pays this message forward. Now stay with me, because the next part goes even deeper into the shift you caused without even trying. And trust me, if you really are the chosen one everyone keeps whispering about, you'll feel something pulling you to stay until the final word. It's not hype, it's the universe tugging on the version of you that's waking up right now. So let's move forward. Let's peel back the next layer they hoped you'd never discover. Number 1. They swore they had you figured out. Then you shattered their entire blueprint. Funny how they acted like experts on your life, right up until the moment you stopped playing the character they wrote for you. They spent years thinking they knew you, not the real you, just the version they created because it made them feel powerful. They studied your habits like cheap detectives, memorized your reactions like teachers reading from outdated textbooks, and treated your emotions like buttons on a machine they owned. They thought they mapped your whole mind. They thought they understood your limits. They thought they could predict every move you'd make before you made it. That's why they were so confident, so loud, so smug. Your predictability kept them warm at night. Then one day, without warning, without permission, without apology, you changed. And that change wasn't soft. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't gradual. It hit them like a steel door slamming shut in their face. You didn't just shift. You evolved into someone their old data can't track. You broke their pattern charts. You destroyed their assumptions. You erased every rule they swore you lived by. That version of you they depended on simply disappeared, like a ghost walking out of its own grave and choosing a different identity. Now they stand there confused, holding old notes that don't apply anymore. Their scripts don't work, their tricks bounce off you, their manipulation falls flat. And the funniest part, they don't know how to admit they lost control. They don't know how to confess that the person they thought they owned just became someone they don't even recognize. Let's get real about something most people won't say out loud. They liked you predictable. Predictable people are easy to manage, easy to use, easy to underestimate. Predictable people don't leave. Predictable people don't fight back. Predictable people stay exactly where the world places them. And for a long time, you did. Not because you were weak, but because you were loyal, trusting, human. You believed people meant well. You believed connections were safe. You believed kindness would be returned. And what did they do with that kindness? They weaponized it. They measured it. They counted on it. They assumed it would never run dry. But you reached a moment, maybe after a betrayal, maybe after heartbreak, maybe in silence on a night where you felt life closing in, where the universe whispered something different. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't some cinematic explosion. It was something small, subtle, but powerful enough to split your entire identity in half. You saw the truth. You saw who cared. You saw who used you. You saw who clapped for your pain. You saw who enjoyed being right about your downfall. And once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. That's when the old version of you died. You weren't reborn with fireworks. You were reborn with clarity, cold, dangerous clarity that shook the ground under your enemy's feet. Suddenly, you weren't responding how they expected. You weren't triggered by the same things. You weren't confused, lost, or desperate for validation. You weren't entertaining people who drained you. You weren't laughing at jokes that hurt you. You weren't explaining yourself to people who never listened. Do you know how terrifying it is for someone when the puppet cuts its own strings? You probably started noticing the shift in the way they looked at you, the hesitation, the tension, the long pauses before they speak, the confusion behind their eyes when they realize they don't know what you're thinking anymore. That's not respect yet. That's fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the version of you they never studied. Fear of the strength they never believed you had. And chosen one, let's address the question creeping into your mind right now. Why does it bother them so much that I changed? Because your change broke their power. Because your change exposed their lies. Because your change made their manipulations useless. Because your change showed them you were never who they thought. They were just too small to see your real depth. Think about this. They treated your old self like a predictable storybook. Open it, read a few pages, flip ahead, pretend they already know the ending. But now you're not a book. You're a locked vault with no keyhole. You're a game they can't win. You're a system they can't hack. You're the plot twist the universe planted just to humble them. Here's another truth they choke on. When you stopped being predictable, they lost their advantage. Every time you didn't react, every time you didn't explain, every time you didn't fall back into old patterns, they felt something inside them crack. Because they weren't really studying you to understand you. They were studying you to control you. And now control is gone. Let me give you a metaphor they'll never admit hits too close to home. You were a mirror they thought they could bend. Now you've become a blade they can't touch without bleeding. Remember the history here, the moments that shaped this transformation. Remember the times you cried alone because you were too loyal to walk away. Remember the betrayals that felt like they ripped something out of your chest. Remember the nights you stayed awake replaying every mistake, every word, every wound. Those weren't weaknesses, they were forges. They were the heat that reshaped you into steel while they assumed you were melting. And now the very pain they caused is the fuel you walk with. The universe loves irony like that. And the enemies who studied you, they hate it. They hate the fact that every time they pushed you, you grew. Every time they doubted you, you sharpened. Every time they tried to break you, you collected the pieces and rebuilt yourself into someone they can't manipulate anymore. Chosen one, here's the final truth you need to swallow clean. They never knew you, not even close. They only knew the version of you that tolerated them. They knew the version of you that trusted too much. They knew the version of you that didn't understand your own strength yet. But that version is gone, replaced, upgraded, buried under the weight of everything you've survived. What stands here now is someone they can't predict, can't control, and definitely can't handle. And the best part? Your evolution wasn't for them, it was for you. Let them choke on their shock. Let them trip over their own assumptions. Let them panic trying to understand the new you. Because this chapter isn't about proving anything to them. It's about you finally becoming the version of yourself the universe always knew you were meant to be. Their blueprint is useless now. Their data is trash. Their confidence is broken. And your story? It's just getting dangerous enough to begin. Number 2. The moment their control snapped and your real self stepped out. They thought you were breaking, but really you were loading. There's always a moment, the quiet kind, the subtle kind, where everything flips without warning. No fireworks, no audience, no dramatic exit. Just you, minding your own business while the universe silently rewrites your entire code. And what they don't understand is this. You didn't evolve out loud because evolution never needs applause. You didn't announce your shift because revolutions that actually matter happen in silence. You simply changed, and their whole framework collapsed like a cheap tent in a storm. They're standing there now, clinging to the ghost of who they thought you were, trying to force that ghost to match the person right in front of them. But the math isn't mathing. The blueprint doesn't match the structure. Their old notes on you read like ancient history, and the version of you they're facing now. Yeah, that version refuses to fit into their broken categories. And this is where the panic begins, because when the chosen one evolves quietly, the enemy always breaks loudly. Imagine spending years studying someone, only to realize you memorized a character that no longer exists. Let's get into it the way a villain turned hero would. Blunt, cold, and embarrassingly honest. You didn't change because of them. You changed because the universe was tired of watching you shrink for people who couldn't even fill their own shoes. You didn't shift because of their betrayal. You shifted because your old self finally ran out of space to hold everything you learned, everything you endured, everything you survived. And chosen one, let's answer the question already bouncing in your mind. Why did everything break at once? Because you hit your limit. Because you finally saw through the performance. Because you realized the chair they tried to trap you in had no legs. Because something inside you snapped, but it wasn't your spirit. It was your tolerance. Growth doesn't always feel like leveling up. Sometimes it feels like something inside you quietly dying, so something stronger can breathe. Imagine this, you're in a room where everyone thinks they know you. They treat you like an old photograph, frozen in time, stuck in their outdated memory of you. But while they've been sleeping comfortably in their certainty, you've been changing shape in the dark, mind sharpening, spirit hardening, heart learning, step by step, day by day. No witnesses, no cheerleaders. So when you finally walk back into that room, the same space, same people, same expectations, they get hit with whiplash. Who is this? Why do you feel different? Why doesn't your energy fold anymore? Why don't you react the way they need you to? All those questions are rattling inside their skulls right now. They're trying to reconcile the person they once managed with the one now standing tall, unreadable, unbreakable. And they can't do it. The puzzle won't snap together because the pieces don't belong to the same picture anymore. And here's the quote that stings them most. You didn't outgrow them. You outgrew the version of yourself that made them feel safe. Imagine this next one. Picture a snake shedding its skin. The old skin looks familiar, dull, empty. That's the version of you they still cling to. But the snake keeps moving forward, shining, sharper, alive. And there they are, waving the dead skin at you like, "Come back, this is who you're supposed to be." No, that version is gone. And they don't know how to grieve something that was never theirs in the first place. Chosen One, your evolution broke them because it broke their control. The old you was predictable. The old you apologized too much. The old you explained things that didn't need explanations. The old you waited for permission. The old you tolerated what wounded you. Then something deep inside cracked, not in the way they were counting on, but in the way every legend cracks right before greatness hits. You didn't hit rock bottom, you hit the floorboard covering the staircase you were meant to climb. Imagine this moment, late at night, everyone gone, the world quiet, your heart heavy, your mind exhausted, and that's when it happened. Your identity didn't break, your illusions did. The illusions about who cared, the illusions about who deserved you, the illusions about who was safe, the illusions about what you needed to prove. They thought you broke down, but you actually broke free. And now they're stuck staring at a version of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, doesn't shrink. A version with eyes that see through them, not around them. A version that doesn't respond to bait, traps, guilt, manipulation, or emotional games. Let me answer the next question rising in your mind. Why do they look so confused now? Because your silence used to mean surrender. Now your silence means strategy. Because your softness used to be access. Now your softness is selective. Because your heart used to be open to anyone. Now your heart has a door they can't touch. They can't understand this new version because this new version wasn't built for them. It was built from everything they underestimated. Here's where the villain grin appears. They're trying so hard to match your present self to their past assumptions, and it's failing miserably. They're running old software on a system they can't upgrade. They're expecting the same emotional responses, the same triggers, the same patterns. And when nothing works, the panic hits. Imagine a chess player realizing halfway through the game that the opponent they underestimated isn't even playing chess anymore. You're playing something else, something bigger, something they don't have the range for. And there they sit, staring at the board, thinking you're making random moves, when really, you're 10 steps ahead, quietly dismantling every illusion they ever built. People don't panic when you change. They panic when you stop fitting into the box they locked you in. And Chosen One, the universe didn't let you evolve quietly for no reason. Quiet changes create the loudest reactions. Quiet growth creates the deepest fear. Quiet evolution slices through people who relied on your weakness to feel strong. This is why everything broke. This is why they're shaken. This is why they're speechless now. You didn't become a new person. You became the person you were always supposed to be, the one they never saw coming. And the truth that haunts them most, you didn't lose yourself. You found yourself. And the version you found isn't someone they can read, predict, control, or contain. Everything broke the moment you stopped being who they wanted you to be, and everything began the moment you stepped into who you were meant to become. They're not facing the old you anymore. They're standing in front of the storm they created and the legend you became. Number 3. The meltdown in their heads. They can't hide anymore. They don't fear who you were. They fear the upgrade they never saw coming. Right now, their minds are glitching like old software trying to run on a machine that outgrew them overnight. They're scrambling, panicking, replaying every memory of you like detectives desperate to find the moment they lost control. But the truth hits harder than any theory they can come up with. The moment you stopped bending was the moment their entire worldview cracked in half. They remember the old you, the one who softened your voice, over-explained your choices, and tried way too hard to make everyone comfortable. But the person standing in front of them now, you're steel, cold, polished, unbothered steel. You don't bend for anyone. You don't shrink around fragile egos. You don't explain your existence like it's a permission slip waiting for signatures. And this is where their cognitive crisis begins. Imagine watching someone you swore you understood suddenly operate outside every box you built for them. Imagine expecting them to react, and instead they stare through you like they already saw your next 5 moves. Imagine trying your old tricks only to realize the chosen one upgraded their entire system while you were busy gossiping. Here's the quote burning a hole in their pride. You didn't become intimidating, they just finally realized you were never small. They keep waiting for the old you to come back, the apologetic version, the predictable version, the version that tolerated their insecurity like it was your responsibility. But you never revert. Not once, not even by accident. And now the universe is watching them spiral, because nothing terrifies someone more than realizing the person they tried to control has awakened into someone they can't influence, can't decode, and can't reach anymore. They're not confused by your strength. They're confused you found it without their permission. Number 4, the damage you caused by finally being real. They weren't afraid of losing you. They were afraid of meeting the version of you they could never control. Here's the truth they'll never admit. You didn't hurt them by changing. You hurt them by stopping the performance they relied on. You quit bending your tone, shrinking your presence, and babysitting their insecurity like it was your full-time job. You stopped tiptoeing around fragile egos that couldn't handle the weight of your real personality. And the second you stopped managing yourself to protect their comfort, everything inside them cracked. Because for the first time ever, they met you without the filters. Imagine this: a person sees you through a foggy window for years, blurry, softened, easy to dismiss. Then one day the window wipes clean, and suddenly they're staring at the raw, unfiltered version of you. The one you kept hidden because you didn't want to intimidate anyone. The one they prayed would stay buried. The one with clarity, boundaries, and a spine carved out of every betrayal you survived. That's the version standing in front of them now. Here's the quote, hitting them harder than any insult. You didn't change into someone new. You stopped pretending to be someone smaller. You quit explaining yourself to people who were never qualified to judge your decisions. You quit shrinking your dreams so nobody felt jealous. You quit dimming your intelligence so insecure people wouldn't feel threatened. You quit apologizing for instincts that were sharper than their best logic. And when the performance ended, the truth walked in. Not a better you, not a worse you. The real you, the one they never prepared for. That's what shook them. Not your evolution, but the terrifying realization that the version of you they mistreated was only the surface layer of something much more powerful, much harder to manipulate, and far more dangerous than they ever imagined. Number 5. Why their names for you die the second they speak them. They didn't run out of labels. You just outgrew every box they tried to bury you in. Right now, they're digging through every insult, every lazy adjective, every recycled label they used to throw at you like darts. Confident, cold, changed, intense, arrogant. They're tossing these words around, hoping one sticks long enough to make them feel like they still understand you. But none of it fits. None of it lands. Every label slides right off you because those words were designed for the version of you that used to shrink, bend, soften, and disappear to keep the peace. That version doesn't exist anymore. Imagine them flipping through an old dictionary trying to describe a storm that doesn't follow the laws of physics. They're standing in front of something whole, something they never saw because they were too busy interacting with the fragments. You were giving them 10%, 20%, whatever piece felt safe for the moment. You sliced yourself into manageable bites so nobody choked on your presence. But then you stopped. And that's when everything they called you became useless. Here's the quote that burns them from the inside out. They can't define you because you're no longer broken into pieces small enough for them to swallow. You didn't become a trait. You didn't turn into one single quality they could label, point at, or hide behind. You became whole, fully formed, fully aware, fully awake. You stopped shaping yourself into whatever version made them comfortable. You stopped editing your personality to fit the room. You stopped playing a character just so fragile people wouldn't spiral. And, chosen one, here's the question echoing in your mind right now. Why are they so desperate to label me anyway? Because labels give them control. Labels make you predictable. Labels make you small enough to manage. But when you stop performing, when every part of you stands up at the same time, your confidence, your boundaries, your intelligence, your silence, your power, suddenly there's too much of you to simplify. Imagine this. They spent years reading the intro chapter of your life and assumed they understood the entire book. Then you handed them a story with plot twists, character development, and a tone they didn't know how to interpret. They're lost because their old vocabulary can't keep up with your new identity. And now the universe is having a good laugh watching them panic. You didn't become arrogant. You became solid. You didn't become cold. You became selective. You didn't become intense. You became honest. Their labels don't work because those labels were never designed for someone who finally stopped hiding. They didn't expect you to show up whole. They didn't expect you to take up space they used to claim as their own. They didn't expect the real you to be this powerful, this grounded, this dangerous. But here you are, unfragmented, unapologetic, and impossible to categorize. No label fits a legend still being written. Number 6, how you walked in and the whole room forgot how to breathe. They didn't change how they speak because you got louder. They changed because you stopped being someone they could speak over. Your presence used to blend in. Background noise, easy to ignore, easy to underestimate. But now, the second you step into a room, the atmosphere flips like a switch. Conversations tighten, voices drop. People who once talked freely around you suddenly measure every syllable like each word could trigger an alarm. The same mouths that used to dismiss you now choose their tone like they're walking across thin ice. Because you didn't just change, you changed everything around you. Your silence hits harder than your old explanations. Your eye contact has weight now. Your energy doesn't bend, doesn't wobble, doesn't shrink to make space for insecure people who used to take advantage of your softness. You've become unpredictable, and nothing terrifies a controlling system more than something it can't predict, monitor, or manipulate. Imagine this, a room full of people reading from an old instruction manual that says, press here and they react. Say this and they fold. Do that and they apologize. Then you walk in with a completely new operating system. One they never installed, never approved, never prepared for. Every line of their manual becomes useless. Every trick fails. Every assumption shatters. That's why they're careful now. Here's the quote slicing through their pride. You didn't become intense, you became unreadable, and unreadable people terrify those who once controlled the script. And Chosen One, here's the question buzzing in your mind. Why does the room shift when I enter? Because they feel the difference before they understand it, because your presence exposes their intentions, because your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation, because you're no longer the harmless version they once managed like a project. Imagine a wolf walking into a space where everyone thought you were a house pet. Suddenly, they're sitting straighter, speaking softer, watching every move. They don't know what you'll do. They don't know what you see. They don't know what you know. The universe turned you into a variable they can't calculate, and that's why the entire room changes when you arrive. Their old manuals don't work. Their old confidence doesn't work. Their old roles don't work. But you're working just fine. You're the disruption they never planned for, and the presence they can't ignore. Number 7. The magnetic force they can feel but can't explain. They wanted you invisible. Now they can't stop orbiting you. There's a strange pull around you now, and even your enemies feel it crawling under their skin. They don't want to be drawn to you. That's the part that humiliates them. But authenticity hits like gravity. Realness hits like electricity. And raw presence. That's the kind of thing people feel in their spine before they ever admit it out loud. You're not chasing attention anymore. You're not begging to be noticed. You're not bending over backwards, trying to matter to people who couldn't even handle the soft version of you. Yet somehow, the minute you stopped caring, every eye in the room found you anyway. Every whisper circled back to your name. Every insecure person suddenly wanted to know what you think, where you stand, what you approve of. That's what scares them most. You didn't rise by forcing anything. You rose by dropping everything that wasn't you. Here's the quote haunting them. You stopped trying to be seen, and that's when no one could look away. Imagine this, a fire that never asks anyone to gather around it, yet people always come close because the heat feels different. That's you now. People who mocked you feel drawn in. People who doubted you feel curious. People who betrayed you feel small in your presence because the universe gave you a glow they didn't earn and can't replicate. And Chosen One, let's answer the question nudging your mind. Why do they want my validation now? Because your approval means something theirs never did. Because you see through people and still stay real. Because you carry a kind of energy that makes others question their own. You're no longer performing for anyone, yet everyone is performing for you. You're no longer seeking a place to belong, yet people are trying to belong to you. The dynamic didn't just shift, it flipped the whole damn table. You became the gravity. You became the center. You became the pull they can't resist, no matter how hard they try. Number 8. Why your rise makes them sick to their stomach. They don't hate you. They hate the parts of themselves your growth exposes. Some of them resent you now, and it's not because you harmed them. It's because your transformation ruined the excuses they built their whole identity on. You grew, you evolved, you upgraded your entire inner world while they stayed exactly where they've always been. And if you could change this much, what does that say about their stagnation, their fear, their wasted years? Your evolution became the spotlight shining on everything they refused to confront. You didn't become a threat. You became a mirror. And some people would rather break the mirror than face the reflection. Here's the quote that slices through their ego. Your growth didn't hurt them. Their lack of growth did. Imagine this, someone standing still on an escalator going down while you're sprinting up the opposite side. Every step you take exposes every step they refuse to make. Every boundary you set exposes the boundaries they never had courage to build. Every level you rise exposes how long they stayed comfortable being mediocre. That's why they resent you. Because your existence destroys their illusion that nothing can change. And chosen one, here's the question already forming in your mind. Why do they act like I betrayed them? Because staying small kept them safe. Because your old self made their insecurity feel normal. Because your evolution forces them to see that they could have grown too, but chose not to. Your presence shows them their own laziness. Your discipline exposes their excuses. Your courage exposes their fear. And the universe is savage like that. It doesn't let truth stay hidden forever. They don't resent the new you. They resent the fact that you proved becoming more was always possible, and they never even tried. That's the real wound they're bleeding from. Number 9. What they know about you, but would rather choke than say out loud. They prayed for your collapse and had to watch you turn the pressure into armor. They saw everything, chosen one. Every moment life pressed down on you. Every silent night you carried weight that should have broken your spine. Every hit you took without a witness. They were watching, hoping the pressure would finally crush you so they could say, "See, told you they weren't built for this." But instead of shattering, you did something that terrifies them more than any breakdown ever could. You compressed, you concentrated. You became denser, sharper, stronger, the version of you even the universe had been waiting on, and they'll never admit it out loud. Here's the quote that burns their throat. "You didn't survive the pressure. You weaponized it." Imagine this, a lump of coal under impossible weight, expected to crumble into dust, but instead, without noise, without warning, it turns into a diamond that blinds everyone who doubted it. That's exactly what happened to you. The isolation, the silence, the betrayal, the empty rooms they thought would break you. All those conditions were perfect for transformation, and they felt the shift before you did. They expected collapse, but they witnessed evolution. They expected weakness, but they saw power. They expected fragility, but they got a force they can't hold, can't use, can't manipulate. And chosen one, here's the question whispering in your mind. Why won't they admit what they saw? Because admitting your strength exposes their lies. Because acknowledging your rise means acknowledging their envy. Because saying the truth out loud means surrendering the last bit of power they pretend to have. They're unsettled because you proved something they never wanted to believe. You aren't a survivor of pressure. You're the product of it. And now they're standing in front of someone the world tried to crush and accidentally forged instead. Number 10. The power of your indifference that's breaking their nerves. They weren't destroyed by your anger. They were destroyed by the moment you stopped caring. Your indifference is the final blow they never saw coming. Not rage, not revenge, not explanations, just nothing. And that nothing hits harder than any war you could have waged. You're not trying to prove yourself anymore. You're not auditioning for anyone's approval. You're not bending over backward to convince people of your worth. You're simply existing as the person the universe sculpted out of pressure, heartbreak, and silence, and letting everyone else deal with the consequences of underestimating you. Your silence is louder now than any defense you ever offered. Your lack of justification hits harder than all the explanations you used to give. Your indifference, that's the earthquake they can't predict or control. Here's the quote choking them. You didn't become cold, you became done. Imagine this. Someone keeps throwing stones into a well, expecting an echo back. But this time, there's nothing. No sound, no reaction, no acknowledgement. The silence terrifies them more than any scream ever could. Because when the chosen one stops reacting, it means the old emotional ties are burned clean. It means the door is locked from the inside. It means access is gone permanently. And chosen one, answer the question rising inside you. Why does my indifference scare them more than my pain ever did? Because pain still meant they mattered. Because arguments still meant you were invested. Because explaining yourself still meant they had influence. But indifference is the funeral of their power. Your energy no longer leaks toward people who drained it. Your heart no longer bends for those who mishandled it. Your attention no longer clings to anyone who once fed off it. Imagine a fire that no longer burns for them, and yet its heat still fills the room, reminding them of everything they lost access to. That's your presence now, controlled, calm, deadly in its quiet. They're stunned because your indifference proves the evolution is complete. You're not fighting for space anymore. You are the space. You're not asking to be understood. You're letting the truth sit heavy on their conscience. And the universe is watching them crumble under the weight of a reality they created. You don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. You don't even need their understanding. You're simply living as the upgraded version of yourself and letting them choke on the silence. Number 11. Why this version of you isn't going anywhere. They're waiting for the old you like it's a reboot, but the show got cancelled, the set burned down, and the main character evolved into something they can't recast. Week after week you stay solid, steady, unshaken, and they finally realized this isn't a phase, a mood swing, a glow-up, or some temporary spike in attitude. This is integration. This is who you are now, not acting, not performing, not pretending. The universe didn't upgrade you for a weekend. It rewired your entire operating system. They keep watching, hoping you'll slip, hoping you'll soften, hoping you'll fold back into that version of yourself who over-apologized, over-explained, over-loved. But every day you prove the same brutal truth. You didn't change temporarily. You became the change. Imagine this. Someone thinks you're wearing a mask, so they wait for it to fall off, only to realize the mask was actually the face they knew before. The real you was underneath the entire time, sharper and more defined than they ever imagined. That's why this feels permanent, because it is. And chosen one, here's the question creeping into your mind. Why does this consistency shake them so much? Because consistency means stability. Stability means identity. Identity means power. Your evolution isn't a mood, it's a recalibration. Every week you remain centered, indifferent, confident, unbothered. It confirms their greatest fear. This version of you is here to stay. They don't get another chance to manipulate you.